Hello students, today we are going to deal with the respiratory system of insects. In the last lecture, we have gone through the anatomical structure of the respiratory system, the tracheoles, the spiracles, the trachea and the different type of the tracheoles. Now we will deal with the number and arrangement of the spiracles in insects. Spiracles are arranged in different ways in the insects. On that basis, the spiracular system of insects is called open or closed type. Polynucleated tracheal system. It represents the open tracheal system and can be divided into three subtypes. First of all, the holonucleated respiratory system या holonucleated tracheal system, consisting of all 10 pairs of functional spiracles found in nymphs and adults of large number of hemimetabola. Then heminucleated respiratory system, in which only 8 pairs of spiracles, the mesothoracic and the first 7 abdominal spiracles are functional, whereas other pairs are non-functional, and it is reported in mostly in the larva. Now the perinucleated tracheal system, in which 9 pairs of spiracles are functional, while only a single pair located on the metathorax is non-functional, as found in terrestrial larvae of Neuroptera, Mycoptera, Lepidoptera, Symphyta, etc. Now the oligonucleated tracheal system. It represents partial open tracheal system. It is further divided into three subtypes. The amphinucleated tracheal system, in which only 2 pairs of spiracles, first thoracic and last abdominal, are functional, as found in the larva of Diptera. Then the metanucleated tracheal system is that where only a single pair of spiracles, the last abdominal, is functional, as seen in larva of Culicidae, Tipulidae, Hypoderma, and the first larval instar of Cyclorapha and aquatic coleopteran larvae. Then the pronucleated tracheal system. It is recognized only when only a single pair of spiracle, the first pair of mesothorax, is open. For example, pupa of the Diptera. And epinucleated tracheal system. It represents the closed respiratory system. All pairs of spiracles are closed and non-functional. Oxygen is absorbed by skin or gills, as found in various aquatic and endoparasitic larvae. Now we will discuss mechanism of transport of gases. Gaseous exchange can be divided in two parts: transport along trachea or the air tube diffusion, and transport along tracheoles or the tissue diffusion. Air tube diffusion. Oxygen enters the tracheal system through spiracles, mostly by diffusion mechanism called the air tube diffusion. Diffusion mechanism is simple in small insects like Flea, and in other insects the spiracles are provided with opening and closing apparatus, which is generally called sphincters, that control the rate of diffusion. As it is clear from the diagram, air tube diffusion, the air enters through the spiracle, goes through trachea and reaches the tracheoles, and from the tracheoles goes to the cells. Now, how the transport of oxygen to the tracheal endings occurs? First of all, the site of oxygen uptake. In most insects, under ordinary conditions, comparatively little respiration takes place through the skin. Most of the oxygen taken up enters the tissues through the walls of the tracheoles. The tracheoles are present in abundant quantity in organs having high oxygen requirement, such as the wing muscles, ovaries, etc. The tracheal walls are permeable to gases. However, it is difficult to say as to how much the oxygen consumed passes through them. Tracheoles are better spread among the tissues to be supplied with oxygen as compared to the trachea. Hence, most of oxygen is supposed to be supplied through tracheoles. Now, the mechanism of oxygen absorption, how the oxygen is absorbed. It is generally supposed that the passage of oxygen from the tracheoles into the tissues takes place by physical diffusion. But some scientists hold the view that the tracheal epithelium and particularly the tracheal end cells play a more active part in many insects like Orthoptera, Odonata, etc. The cellular matrix of the trachea is filled with granules of pigments which are supposed to be helpful in increasing oxidations or in storing up oxygen. There are many theories to explain the mechanism of oxygen transportation. First of all, the diffusion theory. Greater part of the uptake of oxygen occurs in the tracheoles, and the main problem in insect respiration is the supply of oxygen to these endings. It was assumed long back that many insects must be dependent on diffusion when we take into consideration the average diameter and length of the tracheae. The oxygen consumption of the insect and the diffusion consists of various types. Only tissues cannot be supplied with sufficient amount of oxygen through this simple diffusion method. The spiracles contain the sphincters, the chief function of which is to protect the insect from water loss. When the spiracles open for oxygen uptake, there starts the loss of water. Hence, the spiracles remain closed during the period when oxygen requirement is not there, being opened for the time only just enough to supply the insect with sufficient oxygen. The second method of oxygen uptake is ventilation control. Many insects have a system of mechanical ventilation of the large tracheal trunks, which is referred to as the ventilation control. Muscular movement of insects and the contraction of the heart, intestine, Malpighian tubules, etc. by pressing upon the tracheae assist their ventilation. In many insects, particularly in active adult forms, specialized movement of body wall occur which serve the purpose of ventilating the tracheal system. Some examples of such movements include peristaltic waves over the abdomen as in Tipula, dorsoventral flattening of the abdomen in many forms like grasshoppers and beetles, telescopic movements of abdominal segments in Hymenoptera and Diptera. The respiratory movements partially renew the air in the trachea by alternate compression and expansion of the tracheal system. Such movements create change in pressure. Now, in some insects, in between the trachea and tracheoles, there are air sacs, as I have explained it in the anatomical structure of the respiratory system. Then what is the, now we are going to deal, what is the function of the air sacs? The chief function of the air sacs is to increase the volume of tidal air which is renewed at each respiration. They serve to lower the specific gravity of the insect. In some insect, vast air sacs provide space into the abdominal organs, can grow without influencing the form of abdomen as in the musset fly. Air sacs help in heat conservation and help in hemolymph circulation, and also air sacs help in formation of tympanic cavity of the hearing organs of the various insects. Now, oxygen enters in the body, we have explained the total method. Now, how the carbon dioxide is eliminated from the body. While the supply of oxygen to the tissues is mainly through the tracheal system by diffusion through the smaller tracheal branches combined in many insects with mechanical ventilation of the larger trunk. The elimination of carbon dioxide takes place through both the body surface and the lining of the trachea. But in the skinned larvae, carbon dioxide is given off by the posterior half of the body, which may be due to the backward circulation of air through the tracheal system as in grasshopper, or due to the carbon dioxide carried backwards by the circulating blood, or due to the fact that in quiet respiration only certain spiracles are functional. In heavily sclerotized insects, the carbon dioxide escapes from the soft intersegmental membranes. Now, we have completed this topic, and the part left of this chapter is accessory respiratory organs. We will deal in the next lecture. Thank you.